up, guys? My name is Miller, and today I'm going to be doing a review of the game FEZ. As a gamer, there's nothing really more infuriating than investing time and money into a game that doesn't feel finished. Unfortunately for me, FEZ just felt like one of those games. FEZ is a puzzle platformer created by the company Polytron, which mostly just consists of douchebag extraordinaire Phil Fish. You play as Gomez, a two-dimensional creature who lives in a 2D world. One day, Gomez encounters a strange and mysterious artifact called the hexahedron, which gives him a magical FEZ hat that allows him to perceive and enter a third dimension at will. However, just as Gomez begins to explore his new ability, the hexahedron suddenly fractures and explodes, causing the world around him to glitch up and freeze. So, right off the bat, I'm gonna make one thing clear. I don't hate this game. In fact, I don't even dislike this game. To prove it, I'm gonna list everything I liked about the game first, so I can hopefully shut up all the haters who I just know are gonna go bitch in the comments before even watching the whole video. So bear with me, guys. My explanation is coming. Honestly, I quite enjoyed getting 100% completion in FEZ. The visual aesthetic of the game allows for tons of versatility and was really put to good use. Parts of FEZ are extremely charming, such as the way Gomez jumps up with the most incredibly elated face when you complete a cube. And in contrast, a large portion of the world is also very dark and mysterious. Like, in this one room, there was just this creepy lone owl statue that would follow me as I rotated the game, seemingly for no reason. As a whole, FEZ is extremely atmospheric, not only because of the graphics, but also thanks to the game's superb audio, which I think is some of the most well-done music and sound effects in a game that I've heard in years. I genuinely felt really immersed in what I was doing and the world around me, always wanting to know more about the story of FEZ, which ended up really intriguing me. Actually, at one point I was so immersed, I swear I just blinked and like 2.5 hours were just gone. The general gameplay also feels pretty good, even if it's a little bit slower than I'm used to from most platformers, but that's okay. Shifting the world around feels really natural and you get used to it pretty fast. Once I was actually in a room that took away my shifting abilities, and the game did such a good job of making me rely on them at that point that I just felt completely out of my element. Overall, I've just gotta say FEZ is incredibly immersive, and I have to praise it for that. Alright, so anyway, now that I got that crap out of the way, I can proceed to take a giant dump all over the game. Also, this part of the review has spoilers, so you should click on the annotation if you want to skip it. So, one of my first complaints, which actually isn't that big of a deal in the long run, but it's a problem nonetheless. The game isn't optimized for Windows. All the controls are still written for Xbox, and at the beginning of the game, once you get the FEZ, the game does this kind of cute thing where it pretends to crash and restart, and you know, I mean, I thought it was kind of clever until I got about a half hour or so into the game and I saw that there are enough actual bugs in this game that they don't even need to pretend. Polytron could have just sat on their asses and let the game crash on its own. There are issues when assets in the environment just don't show up. There's like texture popping and things like that. A lot of the times the game just crashed on me and I had to go back to where I was before. Honestly though, I've never really been a person who was super bothered by bugs, and there's nothing that game breaking in FEZ, so the game autosaves enough that you never really lose any actual progress on the few occasions that it will crash on you. Even so, Polytron, you should get on that because we all know how bad your track record with patching things is. Like I said before, FEZ is incredibly intriguing and atmospheric, but the ending of the game feels like a giant middle finger that's aimed at players. None of the questions you probably had are answered, and all you're really treated to is a 5-minute pseudo-acid trip of a cutscene. It's basically like if Phil Fish were just to come on screen and say, "Hey guys, you know all that stuff we made you feel? All those like cool emotions and intrigue and mystery and stuff? Yeah, we're just not gonna follow up on any of that. Go fuck yourself." Also, while getting the first 32 cubes that you need, the game's puzzles are somewhat challenging but still fair. After that though, FEZ gets balls to the walls crazy. Seriously, the only clues you get to some of these puzzles that are otherwise incompletable are hidden halfway across the map with no indication whatsoever that they even have any significance. A lot of the puzzles in FEZ are just so poorly designed. There are also certain puzzles that have like ridiculous requirements, such as needing a fucking smartphone, needing to put the game's soundtrack files through fucking spectrographs, and having to already know strange language idioms that there's no way you'd even be aware of if English isn't your first language. Basically what I'm saying is, unlike other puzzle games, FEZ doesn't even give you the tools that you need to complete the game. No, of course not. Fine. Why would it? That's not cool enough for Phil Fish, who is also one of the biggest hipsters of the industry. Guys, I just don't know. Maybe FEZ was designed in order to never actually be completed. I mean, there are puzzles in the game that the developers have said are basically impossible. FEZ is actually so unfairly difficult that there's actually a small subculture of people dedicated just to completing the game, which people don't even think has ever been done yet, by the way. Maybe the game was all just one big social experiment, or a way for Philfish just to fuck with people. But regardless, it's so disappointing to me. FEZ is designed so that it's impossible for normal people to beat, and whether that was intentional or not, honestly it probably was, the result is that the game feels unfinished. There are tons of elements that need to be in the game that just aren't. FEZ just doesn't feel complete to me. I don't know if I would call the game broken, but it's about as close to that line as you can get without actually crossing it. Because of this, I don't even feel like I can give an actual rating to the game in good conscience. The bottom line here, guys, is that if you're like me, you're gonna want to stay away from this game, and you'll probably feel cheated if you spend any money on it. But then again though, maybe you're not like me. Maybe this sounds like the kind of thing that you would absolutely love. I can admit, a game where the puzzles are so mysterious that no one knows if anyone has actually ever beaten it does sound like it has a certain appeal to it. And after all, this is only my opinion anyway. So no matter what you think of my review, I think I've explained what the game is fairly accurately, and by now you've probably figured out if it sounds like something you'd actually enjoy or not. Personally, I don't think this is what gaming should be, although I think we can all admit it was definitely an interesting idea in theory. Also, it was the most goddamn hipstery game I've ever played. So by now, if you're watching this, it's probably the weekend at some point. I was trying to get this review up by last Wednesday, but I got sidetracked by other things, so I was not able to do that, unfortunately. But if you follow me on my Tumblr account, you may notice that I posted the written review of the game there. What I actually do for these reviews is I just write a full script for them each time. So basically, I figured that since some people just prefer written reviews anyway, I might as well just post it on there. So next week, if you're just dying to get a review early from me, you can probably check on my blog, and it should be up a couple days before the actual video review. Also, have a look at some of the other stuff on there. I post some interesting stuff sometimes. Like, I think I've posted stuff about the game Deadlight. Now I think it was not a good decision to buy it. I post funny shit sometimes, and sometimes I just write extra stuff that doesn't make it onto my channel for whatever reason. And I think I'm planning on doing more personal stuff on there as well at some point in the future. So if you want to get my personal opinion on some things in just sort of an informal fashion, feel free to check out my blog at level1miller.tumblr.com. Even if you don't use Tumblr, you can still just use it like a normal website. Like, it has an RSS feed and all that stuff. So anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching this video. I'll try to have a review up by next week, as usual, so I will see you guys then.